I forgot to do what you asked me to do just before
yes.
came.
You disappointed me very much.
Oh, be careful. There's a microphone. There's a hazard.
This is a dangerous place. Is the ball players gone?
He's referring to an earlier taping, yes.
After I was made up, I came out of the dressing. They was still happening, in the green room, I guess you call it.
Yes, I just taped a show with some ball players.
And I'd just been made up, and I thought it looked quite gorgeous. And so I said to them, well done. Here I am, gentlemen. What is the offer?
Referring to something that had come up on that show.
You susceptible ball players, I said. You susceptible ball.
You were that gorgeous when you came out of makeup, were you?
Yes, of course I was. Can't you see?
Yes, you've always been a glamorous figure.
Twice this week I've been mistaken. I am not kidding you. Twice in 4 days I've been mistaken for Truman Capote. Which should do a great deal for his morale.
I should think so. Can you sue?
Can he?
And can he? I was going to say, or should he?
No, we like each other very much.
You do, because I know you have been verbal sparring partners, at least in the press from time to time.
Fun and games, yeah.
Does he imitate you, and do you imitate him? If someone
I've heard he imitates me very well.
Yeah. Drops his voice an octave.
I can imitate him too, yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I can get my voice up that high.
Well, if you want to do any imitations here, you're perfectly free to do so.
I also went to a party last night where Norman Mailer was.
Ah.
And he didn't threaten to beat me up. It's the first time he's never not threatened to beat me up at a party. He was very amiable, as a matter of fact.
You should have one-upped him by threatening him. The man next to me has a certain amount of physical courage, which has been demonstrated over the years. He's too vain, what's the opposite of vain? Modest to talk about that. But I know of a time when you were threatened on the street once and by a gang of toughs, as they're euphemistically called.
I think you mean this year, don't you?
Yes, I do. And the friend who was with you, perhaps being more realistic anyway.
Dotson Rader, let's get his name mentioned. He likes
It was
that.
Dotson Rader.
Yes.
That's right. Who's been on this show. Said, let's run, which is not necessarily a sign of cowardice when you're outnumbered.
They may have knives. Well, it was too late to run. We were both lying on the sidewalk. And so I came up with this one-liner. I'm not in the habit of retreat. Actually, I was not in the condition to rise, let alone run.
It's hard to run when you're lying on the sidewalk. So that was,
the police
was
were
it
very
courage
quick
or
on
was
the
it?
scene. Well, yes, I have courage at moments.
You do, yes. Yes, you've been roughed up a good bit in your day.
Oh, I have a scar under my lip here.
Yeah.
I don't think either Donald Wyndham nor I would tell just how I got it.
Well, this is the place if you're ever going to.
What?
I say this is the place to tell if you're ever going to.
Oh, I don't like to go in. It's in my memoirs.
Yes, your memoirs have sent another number of people's eyebrows up over their forehead. I wondered about that. When you write a book about yourself, any writer has to feel dishonest if he isn't disclosing the truth. But at the other hand, there's
no point in it,
price
really. But you know why the memoirs are so badly written is that I suddenly discovered I've been given a dreadfully small advance. An advance of $50,000.
Well,
and I know a man who had only one lung, who was dying of lung cancer. I discovered he'd been given an advance of $150,000, and they knew he had only one, that he was dying of lung cancer. Yeah. They didn't know what I was dying of at all, but they only gave me $50,000. I got mad, so I didn't try to write well.
Do they base royalties on number of lungs these days? I don't think so.
Well, I suppose they check out other parts of his anatomy.
What you were. What you just did is an example of something. You have a wonderful, I don't know what it is, insouciance maybe, in the face of the subjects of death and disease and so on. You've been expecting to go ever since I've known you, and you have a kind of cheerful outlook about it. You referred to yourself on the phone today as, what did you say?
Eminently posthumous glory.
Yes. America's only eminently posthumous playwright or eminently posthumous. And then you asked me to introduce you as Key West's oldest promising playwright.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember in New Orleans we did that wonderful show together where we went around the quarter and in
Yeah.
the Maison de Ville, beautiful courtyard. And I said, does it embarrass you to have that streetcar named Desire so prominently displayed right there? And you said it's hard to think of anything that would embarrass me anymore.
Yes, I remember saying that to you.
Yeah.
Well, that's not quite true. Tom Snyder embarrassed me. You know
How?
Tom Snyder?
Well, I know Tom
It was
Snyder.
not on camera. It was after we got off camera. He said some things that didn't embarrass me. They enraged me. I thought they were so tasteless. And
Well, without wanting to embarrass Tom, what subjects
they
embarrassed
touched upon a certain subject that I thought, you know, was not suitable to the occasion. I had told him that I'd been through 2 talk shows already. I was supposedly promoting a play. I never think that I promote a play by appearing on a talk show. And I was exhausted when I went on it, and it wasn't necessary for him to make the remark.
Ah, I see. I see. Okay. You are doing a play about the Fitzgeralds.
I finished it, the
Yeah.
first draft, and it's been typed up. Jose Quintero has already said he will do it. Then I read it over, and I realized it was not quite ready to be produced, so I'm going to try to get ACT in San Francisco to try it out first.
Uh-huh.
So I can-
Yeah, you like to have a play sort of out of town for a bit and rework it.
I
don't you?
think plays should be realized even after it's written. It should be realized gradually, you know, through several productions.
Yeah. Some people say the subject of the Fitzgeralds and you as the playwright is a wedding made in heaven, that somehow...
Well, I always felt close to Zelda, you know?
Without knowing her?
Psychologically.
Did you ever meet her?
No, I never met her. I met her daughter, Scotty, in the White House, of all places. I was wandering around not knowing where to sit. I was stoned. It was in the 60s, during the Camelot era, you know. I was just wandering around, and my tuxedo pants were falling off because I hadn't put the suspenders on right. And poor Scotty, she saw me. She was Scotty Lanahan then. She said, Mr. Weaves, I think you sit here next to me. And she told somebody else to get up and sat me down there. We stayed together the rest of the evening.
It wouldn't be seemly, would it, for America's prominent playwright to drop his pants at the White House? I don't know what protocol says about that. But,
I haven't heard any rules about it, but, you know, under the Carter administration, you're not supposed to have more than 1 glass of California wine. But when I was there last, Sam Spiegel was there, and he's a man of considerable girth, you know, exceeding mine, Capote's. And I told him I've only been able to get 1 bottle of wine, not bottle, I mean glass.
Yeah.
He says, just leave it to me, baby. And so he backed up to the table, just kept reaching them out to me like this, you know.
So Sam Spiegel corrupted you at the White House, did he?
You call that corruption? Yeah.
Well, I'm from the Midwest. Tennessee, what drew you to the subject of the Fitzgeralds? You say a lifelong interest in Zelda, a feel of soulmates?
Yes, I've always had an interest in Scott Fitzgerald. You know that one year his royalties dropped to $38?
Yes, it's shocking. In fact,
$38 for 1 year.
I think his daughter said in something she wrote about him that when her father was alive, there was a point where none of his books were in print. And that if he could walk into any college bookstore now and see the Great Gatsby, you know, with the shelf this long, and
I
all
think
of
the royalties are $400,000 a year.
Side of Paradise.
Yeah.
400,000
a year.
And Gatsby sold a shockingly small number in total,
it did.
And it was well reviewed at the time. But for a man not to be recognized in his lifetime sufficiently is really tragic.
I think The Last Tycoon would have been his best book if he lived to finish it.
How so?
Well, there were certain chapters, early chapters, that indicated it was going to be.
Better than his other writing.
Edmund Wilson had to finish it for him. You know, after his death, it was finished possibly. But Tenders of the Night, that wasn't successful, you know, because it came out during the Depression, and the whole focus was on political things.